Hi, I'm Emily from Happy Houseplants and I'm going to give you my top 10 tips for houseplants. So the first one would be, do your research before you buy a plant. Think about the area in your home you want that plant for. And then you want to try and mimic a plant's natural habitat. So think about the light you've got coming in. Does your plant need a really bright space, or is it shade tolerant? And then the next thing would be, think about humidity. Kitchens and bathrooms are lovely humid places for plants to be. Some plants really need that, other plants don't require that at all. So think about where it's got to go and how compatible you are with that plant. Are you a really busy person and you're going to forget to water? Because there are loads of plants that will forgive you for that. Cactus and succulents, then there are cast iron plants, they'll all forgive you. But if you want to be ambitious and you've got time to mist and do a few other things, just think about your lifestyle and how that fits in. Then my next tip would be, go to a reputable source. Go to a plant specialist who's going to really give you some good advice, who's going to be buying from the best growers possible. Or if you're in a shop, look at it. Is that plant in the light, or has it just been shipped in mass and might suffer when you get it home? My next tip would be, when you get your plant home, like this one, keep it in this pot and then put it in your decorative pot, because you really want to keep hold of this drainage here. When you water, you want the water to come right out so that the water won't collect in here and rot your roots. So that's my next tip. Keep it in here and then put it in your decorative pot. So next tip is watering. So there's no strict science to how much a plant requires, because every home has a different temperature and humidity and light. So you will get to know your plant, don't be scared. The best way of doing this is feel the soil. So here, the top can feel really dry, but if you stick your finger down an inch or two, you'll get to know what's going on with the roots, and it can feel slightly damp, and that's just perfect. You don't want soggy, but you want just slightly damp. So before you water, always check what's going on there. Then my next tip would be, a plant can recover from underwatering, so be really cruel to be kind. 90% of houseplants die through overwatering, and we all get tempted to, as human beings, to kind of, oh, it looks a bit poorly, we'll give it something. But really try and ignore your plant, be cruel to be kind, and they will always recover from underwatering. If you have overwatered, try and repot, that would be the best thing to do. And the other thing about water is use rainwater. If you can collect it, amazing. Or if you're going to use tap water, if you can leave it overnight, the chlorine will evaporate and your plant will love you forever. So the next tip would be fertilise. Buy a nice organic fertilizer if you can. And during the growing months, plants, basically they get all their nutrients from the soil in here. And if they've been stuck in here for quite a while, they need some additional nutrients. So when they're growing, give them their fertiliser once every 2 weeks, once a month. And then don't worry about feeding them over the winter, because they'll stop growing and requiring that. And then if they've been in here for a year or so, repot and give them fresh soil and fresh nutrients. And my tip about repotting is, don't get too fussy, don't worry so much. Go maybe an inch bigger than the pot that's in and just give it some fresh soil and it'll be fine. And stability is a big thing for houseplants. Once they've found a spot that they like, try and leave them alone. Try not to move them around all the time. Obviously move them if it's struggling, but plants really do love stability. If you found a spot, make sure you keep turning it so it's going to get the light all round, but really just leave it where it is and it'll be happy. Seasons are a big thing for houseplants. So when you think in the summer, you've got to worry that it's not going to scorch, the sun's not going to come in and scorch your leaves. So make sure you bring everything away if they're in a south window that might get burnt. Almost imagine yourself in that window. Could you sit there all day long, or would you going to burn, you know? So bring them away, but in the winter time they're going to want to be as close as they can to that window to get as much light as possible. In the winter you could even add a grow light. You know, you think the sun's gone down and it's dark by 4 o'clock. They could use a little bit of extra. Grow lights, there's loads on the market that are available, and a lot of plants do die over winter, so give them that additional. Also think about your radiators coming on, that dries out the air. you can add humidity really easily by just having a layer of pebbles underneath with water, and that water will evaporate and create humidity in the air, and your plant will love you for that. And that's it, that's my top tips, and I hope they've helped. Thank you.